And I'm back. I just wanted to read this. I didn't see until I was logging out of the last live that Shadow said it was the scans are already out for OP scans. So I'm just gonna read through this. I'm gonna wait like maybe a minute. I don't expect anyone back. But yeah, just a minute for that. No, I don't think I even want to wait a minute. I'm just going to go now. Okay. So, Asta Single Sword breaks the spell. You see Damnatio. I'm going to get on the bandwagon where it's pronounced Damnatia. I never thought I'd be defeated by those Black Bulls. See, this is the weird thing to me, is that he does not seem like he was like super affected by like the brainwashing aspects of Lucius. He seems like he was really wanting that fade, and is genuinely disappointed that he got defeated by them, which speaks volumes about his character, if that's what it is. Yeah, and I was hoping that the Witch Queen would. Well, we didn't see the whole thing yet, so we'll see. But I was hoping that he would be part of the healing process that the Witch Queen gives them later on here, because they need more information on Lucius's operation. So that would have been cool. But let's see. I haven't seen everything. Please sleep for a bit. I promise I'll wake you up too. Man, that's a nice thing to say after he's like straight up like, man, I can't believe I got defeated by those assholes. He's a better MC than I'd be. Alright. So Ost is running back. Man, everyone just got yeeted towards the gate. Like that atmosphere blast was so brutal. He could have just sent them all straight to Hino. And then the disrespectful panel of the Witch Queen laying there lifeless. No, not lifeless, but so that's how it is, huh? Alright. And then she just gets right back up and heals them. There's like no in between. That's cool. This page, I love this page. It's so raw. Let me see. Is Damnatio in here though? He's not in this panel. But yeah, I was hoping he'd be a part of that. I feel like that would have been the smarter thing to do. Anyway, love the Witch Queen looks so cool here. And her grimoire absolutely did get bigger. There's no way it didn't. Is he in this shot? Let's see. Ghost Gray. That looks like Zora. Does not look like he's in that shot either. Damn, this is outside of the tree. They got yeeted pretty bad. Alright, they all survived, although just barely. They're gonna make it. Bird Lady, it's thanks to your magic that we managed to keep them alive. Good props for Sekret. She really did hold everything down. And it's hardly ever acknowledged that she put the Clover Kingdom on her back for 500 plus years. And not a single thank you. And she finally got a thank you for holding it down. So that's nice. However, Witch Queen, I'll have to use most of my powers for this. So, be the Witch Queen of our era instead of me, Vanessa. So, it doesn't look like the Witch Queen is dying. I got the vibe that she had died, but it looks like she's just passing on the torch because she is using a lot of her power. So that means she's been like storing power this whole time, and it's not like her natural walking power, you know what I mean? So that's interesting to find out. But what a gilf. Still love her. Alright. In that case, why not let me become the Witch Queen? Like, literally no one was talking to Dorothy. How does she just up and jump into this conversation? Like, what have you done this whole time? She came back once. This is the one time. and she got bodied. Like, what are you even doing here? I can't stand Dorothy. She is she's annoying because I know she's not on our team. She can't be. Anyway, this is so stupid to me. Why not let me become the Witch Queen? Shut the oh, okay, anyway. I've already had enough fun in my teens and 20s, you know. No one cares. No one asked you all of that. You're like wasting panels right now. No problem with that, right? Mighty previous Witch Queen, dude. And she's pandering. This is bad. I don't like her. I really don't like her. She's trying to pander to the Witch Queen. I don't like it. I don't like it. The enemy is still much stronger than we are. I'll have to do my best to avoid dying too. If the Black Bulls will come back to life, I assume you have some sort of trick? Anti-magic boy? Of course, thanks for helping, Witch Queen. I'm sure this is going to say something else. This is such a weird thing to say. They're obvious. She just confirmed they're going to be okay. But, like, if the Black Bulls will just come to life already. Like, okay. Alright. So, Libe, on it. Alright, so he's ready to go. Alright, this is just a theory, but isn't one of the properties of anti-magic the ability to grant anti-magic powers to an object? That is a good observation, sir, even though you only have one eye. You are very astute. Asta, you've already experienced that, haven't you? And if you can grant anti-magic power to things, then couldn't you also share it with other people? Like the opposite of your demon dweller. I meant to point this out in the last stream. The reason we never see this again is because there's no point after this panel that he does not use anti-magic actively as he uses it. And you know, there's also an opportunity for anyone to like give him magic, even if they wanted to. But that's why we never saw it again, which makes sense. And I hope he realizes that if he doesn't use anti-magic at all, that he can still do that sort of thing. But with what he's about to do, of course, he should be able to use their attributes, right? So like luck, we'll take for instance, has now I'll call it negative lightning. He should be able to extract that from luck and put that out, since it directly corresponds and comes from his anti-magic. So should be pretty cool to see what happens from that. Asta, you trained in Zeton and have clearly become much better at handling anti-magic, so it seems even more likely that you can do it now. Anti-magic, even... What is this saying? Anti-magic, even yeah, anti-magic. I hate how he says you. Like, it doesn't make sense right here. Like, it sounds like he's just, like, roasting him. Even your anti-magic ain't shit, Asta. Alright, even your anti-magic power is a complete unknown. Look at this. Is a what? Is a what? A complete unknown? Meaning it hasn't been fully described? This is insane. Okay. Even so, it is worth a try, wouldn't you say? Demon Dweller Sword. This is so fire to me, and people are trying to ruin it. This is so fire. So good. Oh, I love this. Yeah, that's really cool. I like that Liby's just like right there. Okay. Brilliant. I imagine compatibility and time spent together has a clear role to play, but you really can share your power with everyone. So it really isn't limited. So even though people are saying he needs bonds, I guess the running canon thought is that he can share it with anyone. That's unreal. You've really done it now, Asta. Is that Magna talking? Or Zora? It's one of them. Yeah, it's one of them. I think it was Magna. That's so sick! Look at these guys. Gray has, like, the most underwhelming form. Like, her little flowers just turn into little, like, balls of anti-whatever. Charmy, I'm so interested in. I'm afraid that if she goes into her human form, that she'll be completely overtaken. Because remember, her grimoire goes half and half dark, half light, when she releases the wolf. So she has even more negative mana. I feel like semantically, it should take over, and she won't be able to revert back. At least that's what I'm thinking. And some other drawbacks that I see potentially is like luck. For whatever reason, he has been straying further and further away from, like, I guess, divinity, even though he practiced with ultimate magic. And I say that because his Raijin form has horns and tails, which is not something that is typical in any of these forms, unless you have something to do with the devil. And we do see it with Noelle and Leviathan, and of course I think Leviathan's a devil, so we see that she's got horns. She's also got a tail. Am I mistaken? Does she have a tail? Someone tell me in the chat. Does Noelle have a tail? I don't remember. But she has horns, and that's also not a good sign. And it's the same for Luck. So if he's got negative, completely okay. This is a big come up for Magna. 100% big come up for Magna. Big come up for Zora. Will make Gauche somehow broken. I don't know how, but I just know it's coming. You can only get sidelined for so long. Also, not. It's going to be cool to see Nox go off here. Because, like, to add to already devil power with his shadows is going to be cool. Someone pointed this out, and I didn't notice until they pointed it out. Look at Gordon's hat. Because he originally just has the insignia on it of just the bull. And now it's like, it's come to life. That's cool. His power should be cool as well. Vanessa, though. Vanessa. This, I hope, is like... Oh, man. Look, guys. We're with all our black friends. There's got to be better phrasing for that. Oh, that's crazy. That's why. Okay. But anyway, yeah. There's one, dude. That's gonna throw me off with all the black friends. So yeah, I would really like to see what this energy that Asta gave them will do for their power. I have referenced that Halloween picture that he put out. I think there will be something to that. Like black cats, represent bad luck. So, and this was someone who's usually here but is not here today. Stellium Josh, who was put out the idea of like, okay, like what if it messes with fate in a bad way? So kind of like if you guys have seen like Deadpool, Domino, she's able to like pretty much roll the dice and come out really lucky, but it's unfortunate for the people and things around her. Or like someone had mentioned on my post, Jinx from Teen Titans. So like by just one touch from this cat, you are now going to face a series of very unfortunate events that, of course, will not work out in your favor. Which is just bad news for Lucius already, because nothing is working out in his favor. But he's prepped pretty well for it, but nothing is going according to plan. Really interested about Finral, because they show him in a vampire form. And vampires, of course, take blood, which is life force. So, I'm just curious, like, what can we do to spatial magic that would make it something different? I only assume it's going to be something different from what we have seen, because, of course, I wouldn't want anything like Erasure, because Longreese has that already. I don't want to see anything we've seen from Xenon, I would love to see something different. I'm sure that's what we're going to get. So I just wonder what exactly that is. And maybe instead of just, transporting people, he can summon things from another dimension, if you will. So maybe it looks something like what Zagra did earlier in the series. Sakurai, I love the tails right here. That does it for me. And the wings, beautiful. She's taking on the swallowtail form, for real. So I do like it. I would like Sakurai to play a much larger role than just holding people together. With her sealing magic, I want her in the forefront. I want her to be as important as she should be, because she saw pretty much the catalyst to all of these events go down and was a part of it, both in a negative way and a positive way. So, it's her chance to right some wrongs, and really take on that role of like keeping the kingdom on her back as she has been doing. So I really just need her in the forefront. And sealing magic should be broken. I mean, granted, she did use magic stones to seal Zagrod away, but it was 500 years, dude. Like, she sealed the devil away for 500 years. There's something to be said about that. And we just haven't seen, anything that crazy from her. Gordon, I don't know. His power was already versatile. It could have been used to break down spells easily. There's a way you can stretch poison to do that. He's obviously used it for medicinal purposes as well. So I'm very curious to see how that's done for Gordon as well. And we know that he'll travel with Henry. I don't know what Henry's going to do. Part of my dislike of Henry is that he just seemed like a character that would be cool for a plot. And that plot, of course, involving manipulating the Black Bull hideout. I think that is personally really lame. I've never liked the Power Rangers thing where they defeat the evil guy, and then he just comes back in a giant form and they combine. I hate that. It's never been my thing. I've always hated mecha series, aside from Eureka 7. That was great. And AO was also great. But other than that, like, what can he do with his power? And the only time I thought Henry could have became relevant was in a Black Clover that I did that involved him, Sakurai. God, who else is involved? Him and Sakurai for sure. But the way it goes is that Henry can essentially make a dungeon if he needed to, right? And using other Black Bull members like Sakurai to seal things inside of it or seal the dungeon itself that he makes sense. So maybe we can see something like that finally. Yeah. As far as everyone else goes, though, and I involved Zora with his trap magic inside of that dungeon. So maybe if they can, like, trap someone like Morris, I don't know, in that would work. I mean, but anyway, yeah, here we are with all our black friends. Let me see what you guys are saying in the chat. All right. Damnation is using Lucius as a cover. Yeah, he is. He's just, like, straight up. He has no remorse for what he did. Johnny, what's going on? It has been a while. Just learn the name, not just him, Anti-Magic Boy. Yeah, it's kind of crazy to throw disrespect on Asta's name, like literal name, when he just saved your forest, but yeah, that's just how it goes. Shelly, I'm getting a feeling that Dorothy will turn out to be a Dremelike, and a Dremelike is using the witches as the servants. I wouldn't agree with the first part, Shelly, because we've seen them in two separate places around the same time. So I don't think that'll be the case, but I'm not against, like, the witches knowing of a Dremelike for sure. It's probably how it is. Black Goku, you hopped on late in the last one, but you got this one. Zeldonix, he took Gosha's magic in the cave. He did? He did. Did he? I'm not remembering that. I might have to reread that. Okay. Helix, am I tripping or the Black Bull still is in the Witch Queen's cocoons during the Dweller spell? Yeah, there were some of them were. I don't think all of them were, but yeah, like these bottom ones absolutely were, for sure, and all of these guys were. So probably these two as well. So yeah, they were all in there. The scans probably just don't show it well for the other ones. Oh, well, you know what? That's including Finral. I think Ichika's in there if she hasn't already got that amp. And someone else that might not have been affected. So, that's probably what that is. Right. I wonder how much anti-magic he consumes with this. Yeah, I don't know. Anti-magic, though. Like, if we're going to talk, like, I guess magic power to anti-magic power, I feel like Asta is like well within the realm of like a royal when it comes to that, because he doesn't run out of anti-magic really. There's been a couple of times where he's been like, you know, running low, but consider like he really hasn't ever been tapped out like that. So I'm sure this is a drop in the bucket, because Libe's Lucifer. All right. I wonder... Oh, yeah, so not... Zora, I think, discovered some Kodadama relevant secret with his mask being so important to his character. That would be interesting. To line the mouth with trap magic. Or, well, not trap magic, but spell arrays that make his words come to fruition. That would be something. That'd be cool. Hey, why does Gray and Gauche have anti-magic where they were cut? I don't think I saw that. Did I go too far? I went way too far. Where are... Okay. Where they were cut. Oh, yeah. Oh, interesting. You're right. So, you know what? It's probably the blood magic still working from the cocoon. Putting them together while anti-magic's interacting with it. Yeah, I'd say that's what that is. Alright. Finral is missing a finger? What? Where? I don't think he's missing a finger. Okay. Yeah, dude, Vanessa is looking pretty nice. Like, it's just the Witch Queen, you know, thing. It's got to be. But yeah. Sheesh. All right. Joshua, hey, it's me, Jade, watching. I don't know what that means. I'm sorry. I'm glad you're watching though. The editor knew what they were doing. Yeah, dude. Who edited this thing? I gotta write a strongly worded letter. Broku. Bro, I'm so surprised at how much the fandom thinks this is. Yeah, it's... None of this is an ass-pull. And with the fact that it things went down the way it's going down right now, the battle is going to be so steep to try and, like, correct the thoughts, just because it shows how much people were not actually reading the story. And it's not even reading comprehension. Like, it's literally in the pictures that are drawn. So it's pretty concerning, and we do have to kind of wonder how close of attention people were really paying through the series. So it sucks, man. What happens when space collides? Like, could Asta's anti-magic be the byproduct from spatial spells colliding? So, if you're, yeah, it's a lot to answer. I'll give you the short answer though. I don't know for sure. But there's a lot of different complicated processes that can be happening. But when it comes down to it, this just isn't like, we can't call it anti-magic. I think it's fair to say we can now rename this, and the best I can come up with is what WK was been saying. It was just antimatter. Oh, and you know what? I forgot to go down the different road with you guys in the last stream, so you guys will be getting something new. Let me read your last comment here. Funeral on his left has 3 fingers, or it's just a scan. I think it's just a scan. Yeah. It looks like there's something behind this L. He's not missing any fingers. There'd be no reason for him to. So one of the ways I was thinking that this goes. So if it's antimatter, it definitely works out that it's able to be shared. But if this is more along the lines of negative mana, now this makes this, I will say this, more so solidifies the possibility that Libe is in fact the surviving son of Lit. And there's a whole process, and we talked about how evolution plays a part, or could play a part, in the Devil's Descending, and this had to do with the ideas of Darwinism. So humans, while they're great, are not perfect. They're still vastly weaker than something like an elf counterpart. So when we're talking about the descent of some higher level beings, and I'm talking like Beelzebub and Lucifer, they would probably need something much more special than just that. And what I'm thinking is, and call me crazy, people have, but one of the biggest gaps in the story is contingent on Tetia's intentions. There is, I won't say a possibility, well, it's a possibility just because it hasn't been fleshed out. But the possibility of Tetia not meaning well in her intentions with the elves would play a really, really big role in the way we perceive things in the story. There are some really weird things that even Lumiere pointed out was a little bit weird when it came to Tetia, and it was just a passing statement. Number one, what is Tetia doing in a strong magic region by herself in the first place? Makes no sense. What was she looking for? What was she doing? Number two, she gets caught up in a tornado. Now, let's backtrack just a little bit. Lumiere is a 4-leaf mage. We don't really have any reason to believe that that is not a genetic thing, because we see that magic is highly based on genetics. Look at the Vermilions, all fire, right? So, in all the Silvas, all water except for Nozel, where we also see that he gets his metal magic from his mom, and he's a perfect blend. He's a hybrid mix of both his father and his mother. So, genetics plays a very large role in what is happening with magic. So we have to assume that she could have been a 4-leaf mage, which does imply that she should be able to not be in that situation. But take it in the sense that she does this to play damsel in distress, right? Because elves are known to protect humans. They knew this going into that, because they had worked together before. Because remember, the Shadow Palace existed before Lumiere and Licht. So they knew that elves were protectors until elves went into hiding. So I'm trying not to make this like a wild long stream by like going into like theories, but there's a lot that plays into this. And the fact that her grimoire has not been shown, she's not used any magic, like, and the fact that under the royal capital, like when we're talking about the Shadow Palace, is the literal link to hell, to drag anything they want out of hell. Like, something has to be there. And remember, the pact is between humans and elves. These twins were going to be hybrid elf and human, which should mean they could summon that thing on their own, probably. You would have a lot of power on your hands if your kids were hybrid elves, and sons or daughters or both of the Apostle of Keter, and you're a 4-leaf mage. Like, it's a perfect whirlwind of circumstances. And I also do find it weird that Sakurai didn't quite remember that Tetsuya survived along with one of her twins. It's just really odd in general. So I think that huge gap is going to tell us a lot about the future of the story and what really happened. Samuel, you're asking, did Licht use Demon Destroyer back in the Elf arc? Yeah, he did. No, yes, he did. Because it was left behind, if I recall correctly. Because he came onto the scene with that sword, is what I remember. Because I remember trying to look back into it, because Asa didn't find that sword like he found the other ones, like how Slayer was already in there, and he found Dweller sealed inside the dungeon, but Licht already had that sword with his new vessel. So, and when he tried blocking, I think it was Yuno's attack before he fled, he left that sword behind, and Asa grabbed it and lost Dweller in that process. Yeah, Yuno Stone did independently reopen the Shadow Palace. So here's the running thought, and I'm kind of letting you guys in on something that I haven't quite told anyone on Twitter or on here. I think that the names for the twins of Licht and Tetsuya are going to be Lucifer as Libe, and the one that Yuno has might be Azazel. I'm currently reading from a source that goes into the Judaic lore on both of these figures, and how ultimately, while both fallen, they didn't fall quite the same, and there's a huge chapter in there called Inheritance, and they were both given certain things by God, and neither of them were happy with just one aspect of it, and I want to recall it kind of correctly. I'm pretty sure it is Lucifer who inherits humans of Earth, whereas Azazel inherits the Earth itself. So Azazel doesn't quite find it fair that Lucifer is fallen and pretty much forsaken and still has something to be inherited. So he does not find that okay. So they're at odds, and of course Lucifer takes that and takes advantage of it because he wants to get back at God. So to Azazel, it's just all really stupid. And so the way Azazel falls is that it's essentially like a soft demotion. He never fully falls into hell realms, is what they make it seem like. And from this demotion, he kind of gains a sense of freedom. It's a little weird to phrase, but it seems that the closer you are to God, the less control of your fate that you have, and the less free will that you have. The further away, the more free will. I think that's the best way I can put it. So through this little demotion, this fall from grace, in a sense, he starts to kind of act out in ways against God as well. And God ends up creating a new angel out of a completely random dude, names him Metatron. And Metatron is the one who officially ends up yeeting Azazel from heaven itself. But Azazel falls to earth and not hell, is the big difference there. So that's kind of where my head is at. And with Azazel, what makes it interesting is that Azazel is known for not only wind, but also making weapons. And all of Yuno's forms of the winds come with weapons that have nothing to do with their Norse background at all. They're just kind of arbitrary weapons, and specifically shields as well. They do mention that in what he's able to make. So I think I narrowed it down to that. And I think the fight we will see will be a long-standing battle between Lucifer and Azazel. And it's really going to come down to the cycles of souls, reincarnation, incarnations, and all that. This won't be their first rodeo at all. They'll have interacted well before Lit and Tetia were ever even concepts in anyone's minds. And I'm sure it'll go back to the original elf tribes and the original humans. But yeah. Let me see. Anything else? Shelly, welcome back. Samuel, did Lit to use any spell in the Demon Destroyer sword? No, he only blocked magic. That's all he did. Yeah, it's hard to say, because like, you want to be able to attribute, causality break to the sword itself, but it didn't seem like Licht had that ability when he had it. And I don't really know if he had the chance to use it either. Tabata is pretty good about leaving us in the gray on those sorts of things. The Man Call Nor. It's a good way to augment the bulls for the next fight. They would get washed, they didn't get this boost. Yeah, absolutely. And this is, honestly, anyone with, like, any contextual wherewithal for any type of literature could have seen something like this coming. The Black Bulls didn't have any type of training arc. So this was kind of the obvious next step. They like he's said in the chat, this was expected. Like, they needed this. Shelley, I've been thinking that soul will get sealed inside of Lucifero's body after Lucius has stolen his body, and soul got reincarnated as Libe, because I think will be like Lucius. Okay, let's break this down. So, getting sealed inside of Lucifero's body doesn't exist anymore, as far as we know. The closest thing to Lucifero's body would be Lucius himself. And soul got reincarnated as has two souls. That was the point of the elf arc, and the reason why he's got two grimoires, right? If you ask me, he's already like Lucius. And if anything, Lucius should be looking to reincarnate himself within and kind of override him. That's probably his best bet right now, if he's able to reincarnate himself, which it looks like he might be able to. Boku, Lich probably had causality break because Drow knew how the ability worked from the past. True, he did. That is true. Joshua, in the Book of Enoch, as it tells how Archangel Metatron became an archangel and the messenger of God. It does. Metatron is either it depends on what you're looking at, but Enoch is one of them, and he's a prophet. The other names given were like Noah, and then Ezekiel is the other name I was trying to think of. And there's just some accounts where it's a completely random person, not a prophet, not anything, just a regular man. And the reason behind it is so that Metatron would be the one who justifies where soul goes after death, because he will have lived a human experience and know what is truly right and what's truly wrong, whereas God acknowledges that he's so far removed from this whole process that he can't actually judge who is righteous and who is not. So I think the concept of Metatron and Asta going together is super awesome, especially since Asta's debut was against someone with scales and a sword, where Metatron is also seen with scales and a sword. So I'm really hoping Tabata's building us up for that, because I do anticipate him being separated from Libe, and him being back at square one. It seems that every time Asta's about to get to square one, he gets saved mentally. and remember, he kind of had this like freak out with Ichika and Ryu, where he's like, I can't possibly get any stronger than I am now. Because he's only thinking of his anti-magic of being anti-magic. Like, how much more magic can I cancel out? But then they showed him a new way, a technique that he can apply, even though he doesn't have magic. And he was, with the most desperate looking face, he was like, thank you, I can get stronger still. So, if he got booted from Libe, back to square one, he would need to hit that rock bottom. This is where he finds development. Like, it's coming. You know, obviously he's OP. Something big is around the corner. And, you know, going back to just drawing from the literature and the context, yeah, things are looking very convenient. Things are looking up. But the story's not done. I know it's the 7th day. Lucius is not our final villain. I'm going to stand on that, because everything's been pointing to not the final villain. Just like I was saying on here a year ago. Lucifero's not our final villain. Nothing in that fight said he was. You just gotta be patient. Surely, I mean, I think Yuno will become like Lucifer in biblical lore. I know Lucifero's half body got sent into the underworld. I don't think that was the one that was seen last. I think that was just like the other part of him too. I could be wrong though. Maybe it was. As far as him being like Lucifer, he does have some ties to like Lucifer in lore, but it's just looking less and less likely, and just the likeness that he has to the Zogratis family, it really makes me think that Beelzebub's going to involve himself with Yuno at some point, because Beelzebub's likened to wind and stars. He's the one who fixed the stars in what's called the firmament, which is an idea I need to flesh out for you guys separately. Yeah, the Black Clover flat Earth theory is nice. But anyway, Samuel, I know that Asta can create anything. I wanted to know, can he create a... okay, so you're asking if he could like how we see Licht with the actual, not the actual sword, but the sword made of like mana. I don't see why he shouldn't, why he can't. I also don't really see how it would benefit him at this point. He's got swords that do everything, so I'm sure he could, just no real use. Tony, at this point, Nero's half devil because she has horns. Obviously, she's super pale, and with more devil power, anti-magic, she's grown wings. Right. Yeah. So we'll see what goes in with Sekre. I think it's also weird, on Sekre's behalf. I was kind of thinking about this a couple days ago, how her using forbidden magic sent her into like a slumber for 500 years. But like, it just seems like a really weird side effect, if that makes sense. Like, I don't want to call her a liar because it doesn't really seem like she has much to lie about, unless her and Tetia were super tight, and like she's playing some weird triple agent stuff. I seriously doubt, but yeah, I just think it's very odd how that affected her in that way. But she should be able to use more forbidden magic in this, so that could be something we can look forward to, probably. Shelley, I have a feeling that Asta's anti-magic will awaken after he sacrifices Libe to save Yuno, to force the main villain out of Yuno's body. There's no real reason for him to do any of that, though, right? Yeah. Unless you're suggesting, like, Lucius holds Yuno hostage or something. I don't see a real reason for him to do that. Oh, you mean Asta's true magic will awaken after he sacrificed Libe to save Yuno? I think we'll see his true magic when he gets separated from Libe. I don't think it's going to be Asta to Libe being sacrificed. I think it's going to be Libe doing most of the sacrificing here. But I think sacrifice is ultimately the wrong word. I think he's just going to descend. And it's just a matter of if he takes over Asta's whole body or not, for me. Do you still want to see Asta travel through? Yeah, 100%. I need to see someone go. And I think Asta seems like the most obvious choice. But yeah, I 100% do. We need to know what it looks like, what it's like, what the deal is. And my biggest thing that I've been thinking about lately too is how when we see Lucifero and Dante interact, Lucifero is bound by like chains or strings or something. And yes, I also think that's not necessarily Lucifero, but still, there's something to be said about that, because when we go to the ritual room that Noct does all the unions in the picture, the devils or creatures in that picture were chained down. And the only person that we've seen with chains in the series is Revchi. And his magic is important. Like, he's able to read the person's magic, and he's able to sap it from them. So, like, and let's detail what the devils are doing right now. This is something I've been harping on for years, so I'm excited to see it finally come to fruition. But these devils are, in lore, manifested the entire universe, the world especially, and our bodies. So, for these devils to come out with these highly physical in nature attributes, fire, ice, atmosphere magic, gravity, space, time, darkness, all of those things are found in our universe. And we need them. We need them. So if you go back to a video, I believe it's called Who Really Made the Universe? And it's got Beelzebub on there with little tiny baby Libe, and then Lucifero, their silhouettes. That video, I describe how it might not be possible for devils to fully die. And I don't know if it's in that video or another one, where I talk about the point of devil contracts and how they're ultimately not good, because the reason why someone would want to make, or a devil would go along with a Faustian bargain, is so that they can essentially trade places. So Noct is a horrible example of this, because he's actually doing it somewhat right, in some more pagan way. Is the point of like having demonic familiars in pagan lore is for the point of purification, to eventually then release them back into the world so that they can perform their functions normally, instead of carrying out acts of evil. But when we're talking about Solomonic magic, they will bargain the soul, but it's more of a place that they want to come forward. So we see that Asta's already lost an arm. Libe's that much closer into manifesting in this world into a more suitable vessel that he could evolve in. And that's a little bit scary. Same for Leviathan. Let's see. I'm sorry, I kind of went on a tangent, but the chains, we can't lose these attributes, because then the universe would fall apart. Is essentially the idea that I'm trying to get across in those videos. So, if they kill Lucifero, the source of gravity, then someone would need to replace him so that we can still have gravity. Same thing for fire and ice and all of that stuff. And it's just a matter of how that's done. Of course, we're missing Lilith and Nama right now. Unless something is happening in the background, maybe the universe is deciding already. Like, in that same arc that we lost Nama, Mereoleona is becoming fire itself. The only other time we saw it was with Nama. We don't have many ice mages, so it's tough to say on that end. But, you know, it's just things we have to be on the lookout for, and we see that as we keep going up, or descending into the Qliphoth, the underworld, that the elements of physicality becomes much more grandiose in nature. So, Dramelech would of course be somewhere between fire, ice, and atmosphere, which could be easily radiation, clouds, anything like that, or lightning. So, just looking forward to that sort of stuff. And I still didn't address the chains. So if some of these devils are bound, they're getting enough magic sapped away from them so that the world of the living is able to use it to sustain itself, as well as keep them bound and without the amount of power that they would normally have. Yeah. Billy, Dramelech is the wild card here. Still pisses me off that we may not get other Supreme Devils. I disagree. We're going to get them. They're all going to descend. They're going to be the Sins or the Order of the Fly. Like, that's it. We will get these. And I'll be the first one that's going to say that Tabata dropped the ball when the series finishes and there are no Devils left. Like, and he didn't use them. I'll be the first one to say it. But it's one of those things I think we just need to sit back, watch as it happens. But I think there is enough evidence to say that there are Devils playing in the background right now, just waiting for the opening. And I think it's also a matter of proximity as far as Dissension goes. We've got Leviathan in the same place. We just need to get Beelzebub, Dramelech, Leviathan. I think I just named Leviathan. But all of these people, and if Charmy's wolf is Mammon, then we'd be rolling with the 7 deadly sins. Then Asta made it really easy for her to descend that way. So it's just a matter of what's going on. But anyway, I don't want to make this super long. Just wanted to read this with you guys. This was a cool chapter. Don't let people shit on it because they don't understand the story. All the evidence has been laid out from the beginning. And nothing changes that. So their lack of reading comprehension or lack of eyes is not your problem. So just know that this was a good chapter. This is cold. I like it. And how can you hate on the Witch Queen doing what she did? This was so cool. Look at her. This is so cool. Anyway, thank you guys for tuning in again. Sorry for spreading it out into 2 streams. But anyway, you'll find me on Twitter. You can make your comments, concerns, and death threats on there. I'll see you guys in the next video then. If anything changes in the translations, I'll hop back on here for sure. But yeah, thanks for reading it with me. This has been Jack Goes to Go. You either know or you don't.